you think the world is ever going to change? Hello, well, this was the question Daniel Berrigan put to himself and came up with the answer, no. He was a Jesuit priest who was best known for his campaigning, his non-violent campaigning against the Vietnam War. This was a conflict between America and the Viet Cong in Vietnam, lasting 20 years, 1955 to 1975, and during this period many Americans were called up to join the army, and of course he led a resistance to that draft. I was interested in him particularly, though, because of his acceptance that sometimes non-violent protest doesn't go anywhere. He used to get very depressed, and sometimes when he didn't come down for a meal after having some bad news of some new disaster in the world or some failure of one of his plans to get things changed, he would not appear for the meal. And if anyone went up to his room to see what was going on, often they would describe him as looking as though someone had assaulted him. So deeply did it go into him, the failure of the world to change and become a better place. He felt passionately about the need for a better, less violent world, and when that didn't happen, it really, really hurt him. And I think to a less extent that's probably true of most of us. We want a better world. We want an end to war. We want an end to injustice. We want an end to poverty. And so often we look around us and we just don't see it happening. But what I think kept Daniel Berrigan going was the belief that this was the only way. It might not be obviously making a difference, but the only option to just standing back and throwing up your hands and saying, well, just let the world go to hell, was actually to do something, even though you might be aware of the very, very limited response that it might create. He said about whether he was asked whether it was possible to change American society. One is called to live, he said, non-violently, even if the change one works for seems impossible. But one thing favours the attempt, and that is the total inability of violence to change anything for the better. The only alternative, really, to violence is non-violence or just opting out. And he was convinced that since violence was never going to change anything and was not a good means, let alone going to lead to a valuable end, that the only way of life that was acceptable was a non-violent one, and he was committed to it and determined to persist in it, even if it didn't seem to be getting anywhere. And I take my hat off to him and hope that I can emulate him.